Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of my channel. That's right, we are in 2017 and a new slew of movies are going to be coming out this year. And I gotta say, it's good to be back, good to have another year full of surprises, thrills, chills, and what have you. But today, if you looked at the title of the video, I'm going to be talking about the most anticipated 2017 videos. In my opinion, that's right, my opinion does count for something. And if you want your opinion to be voiced, please leave down in the comments any videos I might have missed or films that are anticipated that you guys want to see, or just dish out some discussion points right below. So anyway, guys, we're going to get right into it. But first, I just got to have a sip of some hot cocoa. Yeah, it's not winter without hot cocoa. So anyway, guys, like I said, these are all the movies that I want to talk about for the upcoming movie year, and these are in no particular order, whether it's anticipation or anything like that. And I'm just going to speak on a bunch of movies that I'm really interested in seeing, and I think you would be too. And we're going to kick things off with one of the big heavy hitters this year for superhero films, with Justice League. That's right, Unite the Seven is finally coming to fruition. Now, DC and their fans have kind of had a tumultuous love-hate, love-hate, hate-hate, love-hate relationship with their films, going back to Suicide Squad, Batman v Superman, and Man of Steel. Now, it's kind of a thing of people are saying that they're too serious, they're not like Marvel, they're not good enough in story content. I, however, have really appreciated what they bring to the table in terms of their story content and their visuals and their style. You know, DC can't keep on going on and trying to live in Marvel's shadow. I would prefer that they do whatever they want to do and actually stick to their true visions of their films. And I feel like if they don't, that's when the films really suffer. We saw some of that with the theatrical cut of Batman v Superman, where it really watered down the content and didn't explain enough of the story properly. And when the director's cut came out, it was just a billion times better. We got more of Clark Kent. We got more of Batman's motivations, kind of saw a little bit more of the behind-the-scenes things that were missing and key elements that were really stupid of cutting. Now, with Suicide Squad, I felt like they did an even worse job. Suicide Squad was definitely worth a watch and is still worth your collection, but the thing is, when they did the whole director's cut ploy, it really didn't work because it didn't really contribute anything of what fans wanted in the story. Now, my problems as far as Suicide Squad goes, I really felt like they had missed the mark completely. I mean, there was talks of Jared Leto being the main villain in the film and that he had so much material that he did, and we saw none of that. Even in the director's cut, we barely saw anything of the Joker, and I really don't feel like the villains in the film itself, in choosing Enchantress of all villains to be the one that they go against, was really believable, nor did I feel it really fit the bill for what that movie should have been. It should have been a smaller scale thing where they were going against the Joker, kind of like the Suicide Squad counterpart on Arkham Assault cartoon. If you guys haven't seen that, I highly recommend it. But anyway, getting back to Justice League, I'm really looking forward to it because, I mean, they did it. They killed Superman, and of course they're going to start having the heroes get together per Wonder Woman and Bruce Wayne, getting together and trying to recruit everybody. I liked what I've seen so far. I really like the sizzle reel, and I'm liking what they're showing us so far of the film. And I really do think that they made some interesting picks as far as all the actors and characters. Moving on to the next film, SpiderMan Homecoming. So we come to this, our first standalone Spider-Man film in a long time, and finally Marvel has come to an agreement since Civil War about owning partial rights to use the character with Sony. Now, looking at this film, I'm very excited for it because we're going to finally get a Spider-Man that is still in high school and kind of a younger Spider-Man. We're doing it right from what it seems like, and of course, the godfather of comic book movies now, Robert Downey Jr. is blessing us with his presence in the film, bringing that sharp Tony Stark wit and awesomeness to the forefront. In the trailer, I loved how he had those little gags and those moments and quirks that you love from Iron Man, from the Avengers and all that other stuff, including the scene where he opens the door for Peter and he's like, no, that's not a hug, I'm just opening the door for you. And then, of course, we got Hot Aunt May, we got Michael Keaton being the Vulture, Shocker's going to be in the film, and yeah, I'm just very excited. Although, I'm kind of wondering what Zendaya is doing in the film if she's not going to be Mary Jane. I was really expecting a Mary Jane character, but the stills that we've seen so far doesn't really make her out to be kind of this model type, you know, you hit the jackpot tiger person. So that remains to be seen, but it could be a red herring because studios like to try and trick their audiences before they go into the films. But at any rate, I am really excited for Spider-Man. And of course, you know, there's this big thing about him finally having the web wings and everything like that. But I mean, those are all small things, but they're very appreciated from a fan standpoint. But again, I'm really looking forward to the film itself, and it looks like it's going to be a fun time, especially with Iron Man in it. And I'm so glad that they're not recycling villains, at least not yet. And hopefully when it does come to that point, when they do Green Goblin, Hobgoblin, what have you, or any villains that they've used before, they bring a new, fresh take on them, and it's even more exciting and faithful to the comics. Then after that, Marvel Studios again releasing more films this year with Thor Ragnarok. Now, I gotta be honest, Thor, probably out of all the film series, I'm really not that excited for. Thor 2 The Dark World was okay. I really didn't care about the villains, or the plot, or his romance. Come to think of it, I really didn't give a shit. I thought that the first Thor was very, very good. It was much superior, and I liked kind of how it was a sword in the stone tale. I really liked Kenneth Branagh's direction, and I liked the clean look of Thor in that world. And I really liked how Loki and him played off of each other. No matter what film it was, they had a good rapport, of course, and they always light up the screen, and your eyes are always on them. I am interested to see what happened to continue what's going on with Asgard, especially since Loki posed as Odin. And if you guys had seen Doctor Strange with the extra clip at the end of Doctor Strange talking to what I'm led to believe is a powerless Thor, that's going to be tying into everything, including things that we saw on the set pics from Thor and Doctor Strange about the address being the same as Doctor Strange Sanctum Sanctorum, I believe. All in all, I think that this one really has a lot more going for it, especially since they're going to be having Planet Hulk-esque type of thing escalating inside of the film, at least early reports of the synopsis are having. Plus, it's been confirmed multiple times that Hulk will be showing up in the film, which I'm going to be, you know, very excited for, and especially if him and Thor have to throw down at some point or unite together to kind of fight this evil that's amassing. I really think that it could do well. And again, I wonder if they're actually going to take the plunge and going to kill Loki, probably their most successful villain and arguably their most fan-favorite villain. But all in all, again, Thor Ragnarok looks good. They have a good cast set up. I believe that Jeff Goldblum is in there, and so is Cate Blanchett as the villains. And then I can't remember her name, but the leading actress from Creed, who was his girlfriend, is going to be in there. And I think that she's a spectacular actress. I can't wait to see how her and Chris Hemsworth play well together. And I can't wait to see what goes on in the story. Moving on from there, I guess this seems to be a kind of a pattern here of the anticipated movies. Is they're either a Disney property or a Marvel Comics-based property. And of course, none other than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is next. And the trailer, the teaser was released a little while ago, and the newest trailer came out, and it was hilarious. I loved so many moments in there, including when Rocket is trying to get Baby Groot to, like, really dig deep and pay attention to the gravity of the situation where they have to use a bomb and everything, and if he presses the wrong bomb, all of them die. Oh my god, and the cuteness factor. I mean, you know, I'm kind of a masculine dude, but the cuteness factor has turned up way past 11, especially when Baby Groot's running along screaming, and he tosses this guy off of the railing and everything, or the catwalk in that one scene. That was so hilarious. And nothing can beat when when Star-Lord is getting touched by Mantis, I believe her name is, and she really reveals how deep, intense sexual feelings, how much feelings he has for Gamora, which, in case we didn't already know from his pelvic magic and his music, but definitely looks good. It looks like it's going to be just as much of a fun blast as the first film was. The first film was such a surprise, and you know, I think that if there was ever a film that Marvel was going to be unsuccessful with, that would have been the one. Mostly because even seasoned fans like myself really weren't familiar with the characters that they were adapting into the screen. And they were actually kind of newer characters that were created and intermingled with older characters from a series that had been long done with and then revived in kind of like the newer era with Star-Lord leading, Gamora, Groot, Rocket, and Drax, of course. But yeah, so I'm very excited for Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Definitely recommend going to see that as well. And yeah, I mean, keep on rocking. I can't wait to hear the soundtrack as well, because the first soundtrack tuned me on to a lot of great oldies, for sure. From there, we go to a somber third film in the trilogy to end Hugh Jackman's run as Wolverine. Apparently, but again, this is kind of tentative. I don't know that he's really going to retire after this, but it is Logan. Logan, like I said, is the third film in the Wolverine set of films. It is going to be the second one directed by James Mangold. The last Wolverine film was good up to a point where it came to an end and they kind of did all these crazy things. They turned Silver Samurai into a transformer. Again, they're using the whole idea that adamantium can cut adamantium, which pisses me the hell off because adamantium, once it sets, is supposed to be unbreakable. And that's something that they never should have messed with in terms of the lore and everything, for my personal opinion. I know you want to make the person more human and you want to kind of make him more vulnerable, but Wolverine is a badass. And he's already got a tortured soul, so in terms of vulnerability, I don't think he needed to go to such great lengths of him losing his, strength as far as his adamantium and everything like that. Now, from what I've heard in the film, we have an aging Professor X who's going through some Alzheimer's and everything, and I'm led to believe that he's going to be dead. He's basically fulfilling the spot that Hawkeye had in the Old Man Logan comic series done by Steve McNiven and Mark Millar, which I really appreciated. And of course, because Marvel doesn't own the rights to this film and Fox doesn't have all the rights to any Marvel characters to use, they're going to be straying away from it for the most part, but it looks like they're keeping key components of kind of like Wolverine's older. It's kind of in a not-so-distant future where mutants are gone, and he's kind of like refusing to fight, and he doesn't have anything to stand for anymore until this kind of girl mysteriously appears, and everyone's saying that she's X-23, which is a Wolverine clone but made to be a woman or a girl, done by Mr. Sinister. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do. It's kind of weird, too. In X-Men Apocalypse, they had Caliban, and now they recast Caliban as an older guy, and a totally different dude in that one random British white guy who I can't remember his name. You're awesome, guy, for sure. You're definitely hilarious, so I want to see what type of drama you got going on in this film. But yeah, definitely excited for the film. Yeah, and I really like the fact that they had the whole Johnny Cash thing going on. They're going to make it a hard R, as far as I know. I mean, at least from the international trailer where Wolverine was basically stabbing a guy through his freaking head. If you didn't see that, it's just like a quick snippet. I mean, but honestly, I think that this film, hopefully it will work and it will bring it down to kind of a raw level, because it seems like every film that Hugh Jackman does, he's trying to bring a more raw, more visceral version of Wolverine out. And so far, I just don't think that they've found that sweet spot. I think that the best time that Wolverine was utilized was in X-Men's 2, definitely X-Men Days of Future Past, and the little part that he had in X-Men Apocalypse and the Wolverine film where he was in Japan. However, again, the Wolverine kind of did shit the bed towards the end, especially since he should have wasted a whole bunch of ninjas and should have been a badass, kind of like in the Frank Miller series that was done many, many moons ago in the 1980s. But anyway, I digress. And after that, we have Star Wars Episode 8. And, with all the deaths that happened in 2016, some of the hardest hitting ones were definitely Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher's passing is a very sad note in history, especially since she had a very rocky life, especially dealing with mental disorders and everything like that, or bipolar disorder rather, and kind of struggling with drug addiction and everything. And yeah, it's just really tragic that she did end up passing away. After watching Rogue One especially, a renewed sense of excitement and everything for the Star Wars genre and the Star Wars brand definitely came to mind. I'm really kind of curious of what they're going to do. I mean, I think that they did film everything that needed to be filmed, and then they were actually in the process of editing it as she passed away and kind of putting the finishing touches on it for this upcoming year. That being said, I do really hope that they do it in a respectful way as a send-off if they're going to change it, or that I would prefer that they kind of keep what they have there and then in the next film kind of address a kind of send-off or something like that. But all in all, Star Wars definitely on board for, and I think it's coming out in the winter. The winter is kind of the greatest time slot for Star Wars, though, because now that they've made their big giant comeback, it would make sense for them to kind of release a film every once, one film a year, but during the winter time slot that they've kind of owned now. As far as my expectations for Episode 8, I don't have very many. I hope that we finally get to see who Rey's lineage is. I've heard all these wild things from, Obi-Wan Kenobi's daughter or granddaughter, to Luke's daughter, to the fact that she might be Han and Leia's daughter, but because she kind of had her memory erased or she was left on Jakku, she kind of grew up differently and didn't remember them. I don't know. I'm so sick of the suspense, and I want to know who the hell her parents are. Also, I want to see what's going on with Kylo Ren and Snoke. And I really, 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 really would love to see Luke finally throw down. I want to see what type of shit he's got going on after being years of a monk type dude, and seeing if he's like kind of slow in his fights or if he's going to be a badass and kick some ass, which I hope it's that one. Also, I know he had kind of an Obi-Wan color scheme going on, but I really miss his black suit from Return of the Jedi. So hopefully he has some dark garb when he does end up fighting some bad guys or whatever, because honestly I think that was him at his pinnacle, and you can't touch Dark Luke. Up next is another film that people might be excited for, which is Alien Covenant, which is the sequel to Prometheus, and they just released the trailer for Alien Covenant actually, so we're seeing the return of Michael Fassbender. We're seeing a new crew kind of being led on this weird excursion to different planets, and of course shit goes south very fast. But the thing that's interesting about this film, I know in Prometheus they kind of strayed, director Ridley Scott kind of strayed away from his original concept that he had put in his original films for the alien design and everything. But this one does seem like the face huggers and the regular design for the aliens are back, or the xenomorphs rather. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does to kind of further continue his prequel story with the alien and kind of see what he does with it. I don't know if I'm going to see this in theaters. I might, but I've never been really a big Aliens fan. I did like the second one though, with Sigourney Weaver, Michael Ben being, and Bill Paxton and whatnot. I mean, that one right there, James Cameron took a property, did it up nice, and that was probably like the last decent Alien movie that they did until, in my opinion, Alien vs. Predator. And then Prometheus was pretty good. I liked the actors and actresses that were in that film. But moving forward, they had this kind of talk about how Neil Blomkamp was going to be doing an Alien film with Sigourney Weaver and Michael Biehn, kind of like retconning the Resurrection one in Alien 3. I don't know. I mean, those concepts look pretty cool, and the fact that you could get some old actors to kind of come back and do like roles that they had pre-established and everything would be awesome. But I think for now, Ridley Scott contributing again back to his beast of a monster, xenomorph, aliens, and stuff like that will be kind of a welcome return to the theaters, and the story looks interesting enough. So tentatively, I might go and see it, but not for sure. Alright guys, so we've come to the end of part 1 of my videos. Tune in next time for part 2, which I will be going down the list of the other films that I felt like mentioning and talking about. And hey guys, as always, like, comment, subscribe. All feedback is welcome, even the negative feedback. And I gotta say, it's great to be back. Alright guys, tune in next time, alright? See ya. Bye.